because when you see all of these all the like the side by side photos of the Chinook helicopter in Saigon and Kabul, and it's this Saigon moment, this moment of national humiliation.
It's like poetry; it rhymes. Ho Chi Minh's a funnier character than we're used to. We really got to get him right.
You can mock Lindell, dismiss him, or call him a crackhead, but none of this will seem particularly funny when we truly have an illegitimate president in the White House and a total breakdown of law and order.
No, it's going to be hilarious.
Incorrect. It's going to be fucking hysterical.
It's going to be so funny. I can't. No, I want to be executed by Mike Lindell. I want him. I want to just like they made him like a plasma sword. They spent $10 billion inventing this sword from Halo that he can hold, and I'm executed for like talking to China or some bullshit. And he's just like, I'm sorry I have to do this to you, but you are sentenced to death. May you find peace in heaven. I'll be laughing until my head just rolls down the Capitol steps. I can't believe
it's the best way. You could imagine, like, you're going to die anyway.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want that to be your end? Come on.
No, we all got to go. I want to be killed by the Arbiter's plasma sword by Mike Lindell.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
Absolutely.
It's just, I mean, they say that your brain retains like 30 seconds of consciousness after being neatly severed from your spine. So I'm just imagining like I'm rolling into a basket, and like the last thing I hear as I fade to black is like Mike Lindell's like Owen Wilson style. Wow.
Yeah. He really went rolling.
Wow. Look at that.
We should play bocce with these.
I mean, just shouldn't have messed with the packets.
All you have to do is not touch the packets. We're gonna get Jason. We're gonna get you your revenge body. I put on about 40 pounds during quarantine. I've lost almost all of it. You can come to the gym with me. I'm like, I don't know if you heard, Jason. I'm on a famous dry spell. I need you to help me, to help you. I am going to get your cum gutters back. You are going to get me. You're going to like tell a woman, hey, he didn't say all that bad stuff. He's actually very nice.
Jason, don't listen to Felix. Come with me. I will get you fatter than you ever thought you possibly could be. I'm going to make you into just a god of size, a size king.
Jason, don't listen to Matt. We can do both. We can make you just the roundest power lifter ever.
Yes, there we go. That's the perfect synthesis.
Together.
We're going to make you into a power lifter.
And
just
Will
a big
is going
fat
to show
guy
you
who can annihilate fucking stacks.
Yeah, and you, Jason, we know what your deal is. You're probably like, damn, I love editing the Modern Family Wikia. Will's going to get you no more of that bullshit. Will's going to get you, like, cultured. You're going to be more cultured than Pete. Like, no, we're taking you under our wing.
Yeah, no, seriously, you like,
straight eye for the queer guy. That's what we're gonna do.
Yes. You can have fun again. You can live in a place where everyone isn't a grinner and a gripper we have to wear dumbass clothes to eat bad food, go to bad food restaurants and talk to the shittiest people on the planet. Dude, Jason, Felix will make you fit. Matt will make you fat. Matt will make you accept getting round. You come over to my house. We're watching White Lotus. We're watching Mayor of Easttown. We're watching Hacks. We're talking to all your favorite shows. We're like, we're not talking about lobbying. I'll never train for a fucking Iron Man. I'll never make you go on a bike ride or even to the farmer's market. We're watching TV. We're having a TV party over at my house, Jason. We can smoke weed. No one gives a fuck. You can have a fun time.
But it's very clear he's doing a thing where he like wants to. When they allow him to like sit upright ever again, he wants to do a video where it's like, look at all these tolerant people who like wish me death, which isn't really interesting or anything anymore. Like I think that's like something you could do that was like 5 years ago. Maybe people would give a shit. But I mean, for me, I've been retweeting all of his health announcements. I'm not like wishing him death, directly, but I am more like, the thing with me isn't like, oh, this is like karmic because like he did this like awful video where he has like some woman kneeling his neck to show that Derek Chauvin is innocent, and it's pretty interesting that he did that and now has all these health problems. But it's more like, what's wrong with you? Like, how are you like a outwardly healthy appearing like 30-something-year-old man, with kids? And just imagine if your dad was making all these hospital posts. Imagine if your dad not disabled or anything. His entire Instagram grid is fucking hospital bed selfies for the past 2 months. B, what did you do? Because again, we do think this is his fault, right? Like we do kind of think like he did something stupid. We don't know what it is. I'd like to find out, but I am interested in that.
He got parvo from fucking dogs.
Yeah, he got parvo from fucking dogs. He did a video where it's like, how would Black Lives Matter respond if I like sucked a dog's dick through a glory hole while wearing a dress? How would Black Lives Matter react if I hypnotized myself into being a fertile and breedable schoolgirl at their rally? I don't know, Steve. I don't know. How would they?
How would feminists react if I got entirely elective male pectoral enhancement surgery that led to a super bacteria infection that is ravaging my immune system?
How would a black church react if I was totally naked because all my clothes are in the dryer and I go to get them out and I'm stuck in the dryer? I think they would maybe rethink a few things.
And then my stepson comes in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, everyone's really tolerant until the pizza guy comes and I have no way to pay for it except for one way.
One of the things is that he would say "Ciao, Bella" to his to the women who worked for him. He would say "Ciao, Bella," and he was just like, "That's just how Italians say good morning." I mean, it's just like I'm not. This is nothing weird about it. This is normal for me. I'm handsy with people. I talk with my hands. I touch them. I embrace them. And you know what? I mean, Joe Biden had this exact same problem. I mean, it went nowhere with him. But all those photos of him, giving shoulder massages to people he takes photos with. So, I mean, I would think that Biden would have a little bit more sympathy for a fellow hands talker, a fellow sort of old school guy who, as Uncle Junior says, when a zephyr goes through his mind, he can't just express to a beautiful woman how he feels.
Well, I think that there's a different, they're doing literally the same thing. I think the difference with Joe, right, is when Andrew does it, there is like a skeevy, pathetic loneliness to it. Like he's doing the back rubs and shit, and then he's like, "I'm very lonely. No one has shared my bed in over a year. Can you come?" He tries to fuck women like he's Dracula. You're the one I want. But Joe is just floating around, being like, referencing a shampoo commercial that was only on the radio 50 years ago, smelling of fucking woman's hair. And he's just like coming and going, take it or leave it. He doesn't really want to fuck these women, it doesn't seem like. And it's like gross, and they're both creepy old guys. But Cuomo is so, there's just such a slimy desperation in it, I think.
Absolutely. There's obviously there's tons of footage of Biden being a weapons grade creep, but there's nothing that I've ever seen that compares to that footage of Cuomo with the sausage. Going, eat the sausage!
There's too much sausage in that picture.
Eat
Cuomo
the sausage!
Is if Captain Queeg really wanted to get pussy. That's what he's doing, dude.
Yes.
He's such a freak.
Yes.
He's such a freak.
Yeah, absolute mutant.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking mutant.
He thinks he's Dracula. I'm so upset. I'm so obsessed with the idea. It's just this, man, you're like a 23-year-old. You just graduated from State University of Purchase in public policy. You're like, damn, I'm working for the governor. Wow, I'm gonna put on a smart blouse and this is gonna be a fast-paced office environment. It's gonna be my favorite show, Damages or fucking whatever. And then just this just this guy who his face looks like an interconnected series of half pipes, wearing a blankie, just floats over to you. You don't even see his feet moving on the ground. He's levitating from just his horny menace. And he's like, "Would you like to darken my bed chamber?" It's like, ugh.
It's like, yeah, you're an ambitious young woman. You just graduated. You want to work in politics, and then the governor of New York purchases the Carfax Abbey estate next to your family home.
Yeah, he is, man. It's do you think he made a conscious decision when he started getting older, where he's like, "I'm going to start looking like Dracula"? and behaving like it's like the same thing, you know, like sometimes when people are like they get older and their metabolism slows down and they're like, okay, I have to become like an epic fat guy. I have to wear DC skate shoes and like do sauce eating challenges. Like, I think if you're like, you know, you look like Cuomo, you're like, I'm a vampire.
Well, I have been enjoying the Van Helsing in this situation is, of course, Mayor Bill de Bungler, who has despised
My man.
Cuomo for years now. They have hated each
fucking
other,
man.
and Cuomo has taken every opportunity to just stick the knife and turn it into de Blasio, fucking him over at just about every conceivable, especially during COVID, or blaming like most of New York's COVID problems on Bill de Bungler. And now that the shoe is on the other foot and the stake is ready to be driven into this creature, de Bungler is taking every opportunity to just be like, by not resigning, Cuomo is hampering New York State's COVID relief abilities.
No, I mean, okay, look, the death rate in New York State is like, yeah, hate to brag about these things we're owning, and it's all because of de Bungler, or at least it's not because of Cuomo. And
Certainly
like de Bungler should take a victory lap right now. Like, dude, for all the big states, New York's fucking owning, just as far as like hospitalizations, deaths, you know, beating the Trump virus, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And people should realize he's a hero. He's the greatest elected official of my lifetime.
and the most dripped out.
The most dripped out. He wasn't looking at that woman's tits when he was wearing the like John Lennon polarized glasses. They were just, she was like, I want you to see these, Bill. And he was like, okay. He's the opposite of Cuomo. He's having the time of his life. It makes me very happy.
No, Bill de Bungler would not last a day as a Dracula. He wouldn't like it.
He's not. That's not his personality. He's a Frankenstein.
He likes vibing outside in a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, he's a Frankenstein. He's just bumbling around, and he has a message of love.
You're right. And like Frankenstein, he was persecuted by idiot townsfolk, i.e., the people of New York City.
Yeah. No,
for chasing him around with pitchforks and torches when he's just trying to vibe.
Yeah, he didn't kill that girl. He was trying to help her.
Yeah, the groundhog. The groundhog's the girl.
Yes. Oh my God.
So that's what he did.
So
that's some fucking loser politics nerds.
That's what sucks about Obama though the most is like he did sell his soul to hang out with famous people, but like the famous people he wants to hang out with are like Chris Martin and like the bassist from the National and Common.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people, specifically point to not just David Axelrod, but like much of his former White House staff did not get the invite to the party after the guest list was pared down, and a lot of people are saying, oh, like there's something, I don't know, a bit classless about that to, cancel David Axelrod's invite, who, worked closely with Obama for like well over 20 years and probably more than any one individual has, helped and is responsible for his success and him being president. But, if you're going to choose between them and, I don't know, Bruce Springsteen or Don Cheadle, I mean, who would you invite to your party?
Probably Don Cheadle. I mean, like, Springsteen, sure, but like Don Cheadle,
he was in Ocean's 11.
That's true. I mean, did any of the Johns make it? I mean, with Axelrod, you can understand because when Axelrod was at Rolling Loud last week, he said some very homophobic things. He said, "Put your lanyards in the air if you don't have HIV." Ladies, if your pussy smells like a Kosey salad bowl, put your fucking phones in the air. But everyone else, like, I presume Dan Pfeiffer, if the Axelrod didn't make it, Dan Pfeiffer definitely did it. Tommy Vitor definitely didn't. Did any of the Pod Johns make it? Do we have any confirmation on that?
Well, I mean, let's go through this article here. I mean, the New York Times is on the case. It says here, Jay-Z and Beyonce were still in as of Friday. David Axelrod and Larry David were out. Former President Barack Obama's 60th birthday has been anticipated as the biggest social event of the summer for alumni of his administration and friends of the Obama family. a celebrity-studded garden party at Mr. Obama's $12 million Martha's Vineyard mansion. But this week, some invitees were treated to a cold dose of reality when they were abruptly cut from the guest list, while some of the boldest names were not. The party, the uninvited were told, had been scaled back because of growing concerns about the spread of the Delta variant of the coronavirus. In what seemed like fodder for a future episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, Mr. David, the comedian and Martha's Vineyard homeowner, was executed. No, sorry, uninvited. I mean, the New York Times, they say uninvited, but, let's be honest, they're working hand in glove with the O'Bungler to cover up the fact that, yes, they did take Larry David and put him in the Wicker Man as Chrissy Teigen and John Legend set him ablaze while they all sung a song. And that was, thank you, Beyonce. But yeah, so let's see here. So were the majority of former Obama administration officials who had been looking forward to the reunion after an isolated year and who generally credit themselves with helping create the Obama legacy that has allowed the former president to settle in so comfortably with the A-list crowd. Well, okay, then you did your job. Sorry you didn't get the invite. You created the legacy so that he could hang out with Bruce Springsteen, and now he's doing just that. So sorry you couldn't come hang out.
Be proud for him. Don't be petty about this. This was what you worked for. Congratulations, you got it. Just look at him out there. Look at him out there. He's doing the Dougie with Bob Dylan. You love it. You're very happy that this is happening.
Obama would run over a grandparent with a monster truck to shake hands with Norah Jones. That's just who he is. You can't get mad. It's like, what the Scorpion says.
Rock me like a hurricane.
I really wanted to meet the guy. I really wanted to meet the guys from Five for Fighting. I couldn't imagine not hanging out with David Boreanaz, or whatever the fuck that guy's name is from Bones. I had to like drink an Amstel with Mark Pryor. Sorry, fuck you.
It says here, President Biden's top aides were told on Friday that experts studying the mysterious illness affecting scores of diplomats, spies, and their family members were still struggling to find evidence to back up the leading theory that microwave attacks are being launched by Russian agents. The report came in an unusual classified meeting called by the Director of National Intelligence, Avril D. Haines, according to several senior administration officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity. The purpose of the meeting was to assess the investigations and efforts to treat victims of the so-called Havana syndrome, the unexplained headaches, dizziness, and memory loss reported by scores of State Department officials, CIA officers, and their families. I mean, I don't know. Do you think there's a simpler explanation for why scores of CIA operatives and their families feel bad all the time?
There is, yeah. I think that's the next thing is just like people in the security apparatus, whether they're local cops or CIA operatives, experiencing symptoms of depression or just panic attacks and blaming either fentanyl or Cuban microwave technology.
Yeah, no one can accept that maybe the thing you're doing every day that make the world worse is also making you kind of sad. Nope. There's a Russian space laser, and honestly, same thing with the electoral meddling theory. If the Russians are not only able to use Facebook ads to seize the presidency of the United States, but they can create a machine that has no scientific basis, apparently.
Yes,
Then we should just surrender to them.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
I mean, even if this was real and they were doing this, I wouldn't feel bad about them. Don't go there. Don't go there. You're only going there to do bad stuff. No, I'll be. If they actually had this and they were shooting it at you and they were giving you chronic Lyme disease, I'd be like,
yes,
good.
Yes. No, because at no point in any of these accounts of you hear Russia has a secret microwave laser that they're using to cook the brains of our spies in Havana. Well, it's at no point when I hear that headline, I'm immediately getting excited because I'm thinking of the scene in Scanners where the guy's head explodes, and it's they have a laser that makes you feel I don't know, itchy, tired, mild memory loss, slight nausea, weeks after you reportedly were encountered with it. It's just that's not a very good fucking assassination device or, piece of counter espionage or whatever. And two, it's how bad can I feel for the people involved here when these are the fucking symptoms?
I mean, it is funny to think that they spent I would estimate the cost of developing and maintaining this weapon would be $2 or $3 trillion. Spending $2 or $3 trillion on like a special death ray that only gives you mild depression and diarrhea.
It gives you an upset tummy for an evening.
Yeah.
Yep. Like every educated person whose life depends on making the world worse, also as a result of that, has like an ambient sense of anxiety and feeling bad. And depending on what their job is and who their coworkers and what their context is, they're going to find an explanation for it that does not actually address the cause. And if you're a little CIA person doing spy versus spy shit, and you're pretending you're in a Le Carre novel, you know what it is? It's a Russian space beam. That's got to be it. And then everyone else will be like, yes, that's exactly what it is. I know exactly what you mean. I had that too.
I mean, like, if you are a CIA deep state ghoul and operative, like, doesn't this shit embarrass you? Like, I mean, like, during the Cold War, like, if you were, like, in East Germany or something, they would just, like, capture you, torture you, and then, like, put your body in a fucking, like, in a fucking kiln and turn you into dust, and no one would ever hear from you again. And now it's like their covert death weapon is just basically like a YouTube prank. Social experiment, making CIA agents, like, have diarrhea. You know what I mean? And like, and then now that you have to complain about this publicly. I mean, like, even if you believe this were true, like, isn't there something to be said for putting up a sort of a stoic front?
Yeah.
Especially when these stakes we're talking about are just literally like mild irritation and depression.
Yeah.
It's the last real weapon we have, though, is one.
Yeah.
That's it. It's the only strategic.
You would not see Ted Shackley do this. You would not see Edwin P. Wilson do this. Edwin P. Wilson would have been like, oh, you gave me chronic fatigue with a microwave? I'm going to go get another bag. Going to make another few million selling
Part of it
Semtex
is
to
the fact
Libyans.
is that when these guys felt like this, they could just say, oh, right, DTs. I haven't had a martini in 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, maybe they've always had this, and the only cure is to drink like 2 liters of liquor a day.
That's right.
Yeah, they need to become alcoholics
Yeah,
again.
and like the Russians and the Cubans were like just blasting Angleton's house with X-rays, and they're like, "What the fuck? It's like not doing anything."
It's like, oh shit, he's in there giving Kim Philby a pony ride, and they don't know mind at all. It's like, oh, that's because they were pickled in gin.
Yeah. Just like
And
stay
now,
well lubricated with like 3 quarts of scotch a day. The microwave rays don't work.
Now, the new type of person in the CIA is the person who's like, sign that I'm officially 30. I have 2 beers and I had a headache. It's like, drink more, you fucking pussy.
Yeah, shut up and drink.
Yeah, you want to stand up to the Russians? You want to defend democracy from like Facebook ads? Fucking grab that gin, pussy.
Yep. No craft beers.
That's like their
clear or brown alcohol only.
Their biggest indulgence is like craft beers and like a chopped Creative Salad Company salad. That's not protecting you from X-rays. Like liquor is from the earth. It's the only natural protection against X-rays.
I like his.
That's why the TSA doesn't let you be drunk in line because they want to kill you with X-rays. They fear the drunk American.
The term Cuomo-sexual was popularized in a song called Andy by the comedian Randy Rainbow, set to the tune of Sandy from the musical Grease. Lyrics here, oh, Andy, baby, you're so strong and rational. From now on, I identify as a Cuomo-sexual.
You run my state while I gain weight with grace and dignity. Oh, please be my dad. Oh, Andy.
Rainbows
Those are two things I think of with Cuomo. Like strong, definitely. Takes a lot of strength to like go up to a 24-year-old and be like, I'm very lonely. And rational. Is there anyone else who could have solved the elderly question in New York?
the EQ.
Yeah.
I like how it says here in parentheses, it just says Rainbow's video has been viewed more than 2 million times on YouTube. I'm like, wow, I'm surprised it's still up. The governor presented himself as an alternative to Trump, and New Yorkers embraced the comparison, swooning over Cuomo's Queen's accent and his tough guy shtick. Forget bodyguards, he said of Trump. He better have an army if he thinks he's going to walk down any street in New York. We basked in his awkward displays of affection, looking into a camera and telling New Yorkers, I miss you. I love you. I am thinking of you.
Fucking lonely old perv. Jesus, dude.
Basking in that, man.
Oh God.
We smiled at his on-screen banter with his brother Chris Cuomo, the muscle-bound CNN. Muscle-bound? Muscle-bound? What are you talking about?
What the fuck are you saying?
I have never thought for a second of muscle-bound as like a first adjective I would think of when thinking of Chris
Who the
Cuomo.
fuck are these people hanging around with?
Yeah.
Where that fucking pencil neck on CNN is like some rippling man flesh. What the
It
fuck?
says, and of course, giggled at his dad jokes about serving spaghetti and meatballs to his adult daughters and a boyfriend. I mean, that's just one person. That's one person.
Yeah.
They're
That's one
referring to
second.
One
there.
person.
That's particular.
That
human.
person loved it. It was
Yeah.
the best thing that ever happened to her.
Just clapping like a seal. The spaghetti and meatballs.
They should this would be such a good article if they only interviewed her.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I would like to know what Jennifer
Because
Rubin is feeling
like
about Cuomo right now.
Like, if you wanted to like do some journalism and really delve into the mind of someone who truly is sprung for Andrew Cuomo, then Jay Rubin is like the number one person that you
Yeah.
have to tap.
She was like, everyone talks about spaghetti and meatballs, and that's probably the best reply of all time. I think we've got to say that's just the best one.
Yeah,
it contains
untouchable.
the most art. But like, even like when Cuomo would post like other shit, like remember to be safe out there. We're the best when we're looking out for each other. Like she was just like, my husband's out of town this week. Please, please.
It's both the skills that they learn in Afghanistan, which is liking gay shit, like challenge coins and patches and little like special little medals that you get. And by the way, the Eddie Gallagher case, Trump granted him clemency after like the case, the literal like the multiple murder charges he was facing fell apart under rather extraordinary circumstances when one of the chief witnesses testifying against him testified under oath after already receiving immunity that he indeed was also a murderer, basically torpedoing the prosecution's case by making their star witness essentially admit to do under oath to being guilty of exactly the same things that they were prosecuting Eddie Gallagher for. I mean, like the way in which that case fell apart is very odd. And I mean, especially considering how completely out of left field it was that 7 of his own members of his own unit were the ones who are the reason he was charged in the first place. But I'll note this only because Trump chose to grant him clemency after he had been acquitted. And the only thing that really gave him was that he could still wear his trident. He could still wear his Navy SEAL like flair and regalia.
Yeah, I remember reading what Trump said, and he said, this guy's a great fighter. He deserves his pin. And that's it at the end of the day.
he needs his pin.
Yeah, you've committed all these crimes. Here's your special hat. We'll never let anyone take your special hat.
I mean, I don't even want to go into it, but like the details of what Eddie Gallagher was charged with are so fucking blood curdling. I mean, you're talking about just like slitting the throat of like a teenager who was already a prisoner of war. You're talking about the members of his own unit fucked with the sights on his rifle because he wouldn't just stop killing children and the elderly because he could.
This is a guy who would have like easily been Waffen SS. This is like, this is someone who may have been, oh God, I hope I'm saying his name right. It's not Der Williger, right? I got made fun of for saying that. It's Der Winger.
Sideshow Bob Terwilliger.
I don't know why I can't get his name right.
Derwanger.
Derwanger, yeah. He's exactly like someone who would like be in that unit. I mean, this is the exact same fucking personality type.
I'm just surprised he hasn't like come up. Didn't he try to do like a line of operator gear or something?
Yeah, he has his own clothing line.
Awesome.
I think
All
like,
these guys have their own clothing and brands now. It's so fucking surreal.
Do you want
See,
to?
that's the thing. It's like imagining like if Richard Bissell got fired after the Bay of Pigs, and then he comes out with like a line of T-shirts or like coonskin caps.
But it is funny that these guys are, like I said, the apex of American patriotism and masculinity. Really, is kind of what we're talking about here. Like these guys represent a rugged frontier vision of like a man who is capable of incredible violence in the service of a civilizing mission or to protect home and hearth from even more violent and evil people. That in the 21st century seems like outmoded, or that at least in America, like American men seem to constantly be grasping for this vision. Like, I mean, that's why all this operator clothing is so fucking popular in the first place. It's so that
Right.
these like suburban dads can wear like tactical cargo shorts and be like, yeah, I'm supporting or have some sort of kinship with the operators who killed bin Laden. It's because like our lives have gotten so safe and predictable but at the same time, people feel like this loss, like, we should still be scalping people, or like men should be able to do that if called upon, or if it's necessary, which is fucking hilarious to begin with. But like the fact that like that's how these guys view themselves, that like the whole Chris Kyle thing, that like we're the sheepdogs protecting the flock, and you need a prick to kill an asshole and shit like that. But like when it really comes down to it, these guys are just craven media bitches.
No.
Spitefully, like, sniping at each other and trying to cash in so they can have fucking a clothing brand. I mean, this is all like, sorry, like that is female tendencies. That lying about your friends so that you can have a clothing label, and that like, their book won't sell because they're telling lies about you and people should buy your book, is, I'm sorry, for all of the tough frontier warrior mentality that these guys go for, I'm sorry, is female tendencies. And so is their fucking all the challenge coins and fucking patches and medals that these guys love so much.
Well, I look at these guys now and I see like Boot Gang or like Whoa Vicky. I see someone who will like do anything to get even like a sliver of a media career. It just happens that these guys like do everything isn't like take their shirt off in 7-Eleven and cause a public incident. It's like serve in a war for a decade. But everyone, the beauty of this country is that everyone is that.
Everyone is a messy bitch who loves drama.
Yeah.
Because everyone, the highest thing you can attain, the most desirable thing for everyone is a media career. And everyone, whether they realize it or not, is kind of that person. This has been, I've seen a lot of good shit. Here and there, I've seen people who are castigating Afghan men for not fighting for their women. Literally just demanding that people on the other side of the fucking world fight a war for you so you can feel good. Like, amazing. Fucking amazing. Do you know, when the Russians pulled out, there was a 3-year-long war where hundreds of thousands of people died. Like, these fucking morons want that just so they can feel good about it. This has been an amazing time. You have people who, talk about like decolonizing their job for a phone app that loses $8 billion a year. Literally just wanting to recolonize a place. Just so they can feel good. This is literally just everyone who, we have an obligation to the women there. This is sad. Everyone who thinks there's something else, they think that they didn't just grow up to be the fucking imperialists their parents are. No, what you're feeling is imperial humiliation. That's the only thing you're feeling. You don't give a fuck about any of these people. You didn't give a fuck about the boys our allies were raping. You didn't give a fuck about the women who were being killed by our bombs. You didn't give a fuck about any of this. What you're feeling now is just the feeling that you have when your team lost, and you won't fucking admit that to yourself. That's it. These people are so fucking brainwashed. I mean, it's so... People got mad at that Corey Robin thing when he said 90% of...
Corey Robin.
Matt disappeared again. That Corey Robin thing where he's like pointed out that like pretty much 90% of Americans supported the war in fucking Afghanistan, and people got upset with him because of course people take everything personally. They thought he was personally saying like, oh, it was your responsibility to stop it when you were like 12. Like, I get it. He put it in like the most combative way possible, but I can't really criticize anyone for that. But his point was that it's incredibly easy to whip up like every American, including like liberal educated people who pride themselves on, pacifism, believing in a better, more progressive way of life. It's very easy to whip these people up, and there are 100 different reasons you can get people to cheer for the same team committing the exact same crimes every fucking time. And we saw that. We got what 70% of our fucking country wants. And most of the, you expect to see like MAGA dipshits talk about how sad this makes them. It's the fall of Saigon, blah, blah, blah. That's expected. And, of course, they're free to fucking go up over there and kill 2,000 of theirs for one of theirs, cry about it for the rest of their lives, and then buy a fucking pit bull or else they'll kill their wife. But the people
in the more liberal quarters, no, we haven't learned anything. We're still the exact same fucking people. We just got sick of it. We've just gotten sick of the wars because we got too scared that even when we were killing thousands of theirs, both local resistance, civilians, whoever, and a few of ours would die. It was too traumatic and hard for Americans to even think about. We're still this insane country with an insane desire to fucking invade places and subjugate places. And this past weekend, I've seen so fucking much of that.
Following the news this weekend, and certainly on a Monday when everyone gets back into the office, I'm sort of taking in the tenor of the media's response to the complete collapse of all of our efforts over the last 20 years in Afghanistan. I think we're seeing a really odd and very clear dissonance between the imperial state and the national state, America as an empire and the people who care about that and run it, and then a country that's still dealing with COVID 2 years into this bullshit. Because I swear to God, the only people who are fucking weeping over this Saigon moment for America are war reporters. It's just it's journalists, and they're all oh, this is a dark moment in American history. This is a stain that will last with our national honor forever. It's just who are you talking about here? You're talking about yourself, not everyone else, man.
What honor are you fucking talking about? Are you talking about the parts of our country where it is Afghanistan, but just for young black men? Are you talking about just the half of this country where the state vaccination rate is 30 fucking %?
Yeah, and
it's never going to get
all
better
to actually get it to people who would want it. So we all have to pretend that it's all mega shitheads who are refusing, to forget the fact that we don't have the medical infrastructure to get it to people who need it and want it.
Yeah, no, this is literally just them crying that they have to reorient their careers in a few years, all to pretend to be an expert on another country.
Yeah. And it's just it's been quite a spectacle because whether you're talking about the entire news media, if you watched any TV at all this weekend, it was MSNBC and CNN were they were cooking Joe Biden for this. They were how could we have gotten this so wrong? What a disaster. This will haunt him. It's you could forget that overwhelmingly the people who voted for Trump and the people who voted for Biden, it's the one thing they do agree on, that they don't think America should be in Afghanistan anymore. And the idea that the consequences of us leaving, the fact that the idea that regular Americans, and I'm talking about voters here, are going to hold this against Biden or are fucking feeling the pangs of fucking guilt and anxiety the way Jake Tapper is right now. I mean, it's like I said, there's a real chasm here in between the media and look, the media are gonna they're gonna put the screws to Biden over this, and I just think all of these people who I'm talking about, the think tankers, the journalists, the media, the newspapers, everyone who is invested and promoted this war in Afghanistan for the last 20 years, they are all by their own insane standards, complete failures. And it's what are they going to do? Hold themselves accountable? No. What they're going to do is that they're going to hold the American public accountable. And they have all decided that we are lacking both in our commitment to continue this war, but also that we are somehow immoral and dishonorable for not caring about the people of Afghanistan as much as they do. But these people, they do feel defeated. And they feel wounded by this, and I expect them to lash out. The thing is, I expect them to I think the thing that's different now, though, is that they're lashing out. I think even more intensely because I don't think the American public is following them in the ways that they're used to, the sort of Pavlovian conditioning that they're so used to about waving
out
that bloody flag. Because, dude, this country is, like I said, we're 2 years into this COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
Just every community is shrinking. Nobody has a fucking job. Their kids are about to go back to school during the middle of all this shit. The idea that we're just oh God, we better let's get the convoy going to fucking the Kabul airport right now. It's okay, yeah, we as podcasters, we've received the call. We've received the call to action. We're going. Tyler Ninja Blevins is going. Hassan Piker, Riley Reid, Keemstar, Dasher from Red Scare. We're all getting in the Gary Taseman Memorial Dirigible, and we're doing a convoy of hope to the Kabul airport right now. In post-2001 America, it became fashionable to speak of war weariness, but citizens who were not in the military or part of a military family or community did not have to endure even minor inconveniences, much less shoulder major burdens such as a draft, a war tax, or resource shortages. The soldiers who served overseas in those first years of major operations soon felt forgotten. America's not at war was a common refrain among the troops. We're at war. America's at the mall. It's like, well, one depends on the other.
Yeah.
It's like if you want the
boo-hoo.
if
That's
you
what
want
you
the
signed up for.
opportunity, if you want the opportunity to be at war in the 21st century in America, then Americans better be able to go to the fucking mall while you do it. Otherwise, it may get more difficult for you to have that opportunity.
Yeah, that is literally what you're fighting for. You are
A
fighting
little
for,
bit of
you are
chicken
fighting,
fried.
You are fighting
Cold beer on a
for.
Friday night.
You're fighting for fucking Hamacher Schlemmer.
Pair of jeans that fits just right.
He goes on, I'm skipping ahead a little bit. He says, what the public does care about, however, is using Afghanistan as raw material for cheap patriotism and partisan attacks. Some right and some wrong, but few of them in good faith, on every president since 2001. After the worst attack on U.S. soil, Americans had no real interest in an adult conversation about the reality of anti-terrorist operations in so harsh an environment as Afghanistan, which might have entailed a presence there long beyond 20 years. It's like, okay, well, Tom, like, this is your job, right? Like, I mean, you are War Room Tom. I mean, like, certainly you were in a position to talk some clear-headed, some hard, tell some home truths to the American public about how long the war in Afghanistan and counterinsurgency operations would need to last. You did your best, Tom. You did your best.
Yeah, I mean, during the time when most Americans really turned on this war, Tom was really, doing his best by going in on the Chick-fil-A cashiers.
Nor did they want to think about whether draining the swamp and modernizing and developing Afghanistan, which would mean a lot more than a few elections, was worth the cost.
We are the swamp. What the fuck are you talking about? We picked those guys. We're the fucking swamp. Oh, wow, we fucking totally occupied and dictated everything this country should do. It's really corrupt for some reason beyond our control. Wow, it's really weird. It's really weird how it's enriching all these Americans. You fucking idiot.
That is the most insane part. This country, this destroyed country, this bad case. We come in with the modern world and a bunch of suitcases and on fucking pallets, and we create a structure for them. And then it's like, they're all fucking crooks for some reason. They're all heroin dealing pedophiles. What's up with that?
Yeah, if they were surprised by that, if the highest echelons, the people who are planning and executing this war, were surprised by that, then that's okay. Then we should have never been there because they're too stupid to know.
Yes.
Yeah, like no, it's oh my fucking God.
And another credit to the dark Machiavellian genius of Pain Pig Biden is that he did this in a way that maximized cruelty but minimized political risk, because by letting the Taliban just take over overnight, he does take this short-term hit to his credibility and all this and his macho chismo and all this bullshit. But nobody's going to remember in 2 weeks.
No, he knows what country this is.
The only way this becomes a prolonged political story is if he lets in any significant number of Afghan refugees. So by just letting those people to their fates, you guarantee that this is a 2-week story. So
yeah,
he's still got some moves. The old Desert Fox.
Well,
don't worry. We won't activate anyone's trauma by letting these people in. No, don't worry. The visa process is still 14 fucking steps.
And and in Biden's defense, it's not like there's enough available space and resources to accommodate a few 100,000 people in America.
We're absolutely full.
We simply can't do it.
Yeah, no.
I mean, did you see that census where like 2/3 of the fucking counties in this country are just shrinking like
Just
fucking grapes on a
evaporating.
vine?
Feeling fine.
This is from April of this year. Kamala's people planted a piece in Politico, like just speaking to them. Vice President Kamala Harris confirmed Sunday that she was the last person in the room before Joe Biden made the decision to pull all U.S. troops out of Afghanistan. In an interview with CNN's Dana Bash on State of the Union, Harris was asked about being the last person in the room regarding major decisions, something that Biden said is as important to him in his working relationship with the vice president. Harris confirmed that was the case regarding the move to pull U.S. troops out of Afghanistan by September 11th. She was just like, yeah,
this
I'm
was
letting people
me.
know that was all on me. And it's like, you know what? I hope she's right. Good for you, Kamala.
This will
end up like hurting her somehow.
Oh, it's
way
gonna,
more
it's
than
gonna,
absolutely.
it's gonna annihilate her. But like Biden, canny operator that he is, he was like, "Yeah, but come on, you deserve a victory. Why don't you just crow to the Politico people? If this is your idea, I'll let you have it, ma'am."
He is such a piece of shit. He's awesome.
It's only gonna benefit him, and it is gonna sink her even further.
Yeah.
like a fucking rock.
Oh my god. Wait, he's us. Even though his brain is gone and like everything bad that could happen in your life did happen to him, he's still like, ooh, time to pull some Irish tricks. Time for some little leprechaun hijinks. What a fucker. I love God.
Out of all of the nauseating spectacle of like the people who authored every atrocity that happened in Afghanistan over the last 20 years, now pretending to care about the lives of the Afghan people, none of it is as nauseating as the fucking hand-wringing about Afghanistan's women and girls. And it's like, look, am I glad that the Taliban like is going to impose a religiously fundamentalist view of like law and society on like, you know, the women and young girls of Afghanistan? Like, no, that's not a prospect to relish. But like, you didn't care when we were fucking the ones killing them. You didn't care then. And like, and also like, none of you ever gave a shit about the women and girls of Afghanistan ever.
No one gave a shit when it was Saudis going over there with more guns and money than anyone in these places had ever fucking seen, and telling them that they basically have to believe this. Hey, take some of the stuff you already have and sort of run it through the Wahhabism filter. And you could be our proxy armed group. No one gave a shit when they were doing these in any of these fucking places. No one fucking cares. They still sit on the boards of these fucking think tanks that are funded by the exact same fucking people. You don't give a shit. You don't give a shit when it's in Qatar. You don't give a shit when it's in Saudi Arabia. You don't give a shit about it anywhere except for the place where you can sell more war to Americans. Go fuck yourself. Why not Ken Jennings?
That's why a lot of people want to know.
A lot of people thought that would make sense. You know, he was like, I had a very legendary run on Jeopardy. I mean, he came back to host some of the Tournaments of Champions. Well liked. Wouldn't have been controversial, but no, they got to give it to like the woman from The Big Bang Theory, because she's on a show for smart people, and fucking some producing dickhead who no one's heard of ever.
Yeah, they got Michael Richards on. They rebuilt the Laugh Factory set, and nobody's happy. I mean, so like Ken Jennings, you remember when like the Bean Dad thing happened?
Oh yeah,
and I think that might
Bean
have
Dad
like,
is his co-host.
Yeah, Ken Jennings. That made me like Ken Jennings more because like nothing Bean Dad said was like really that bad for like 2012. That's what like everyone was doing. They were like, oh, what if there was a Holocaust, but for people who didn't use the turn signal right? You know, that was fine. That was fine. That was encouraged to do back then. You could get on midnight and get some top from a girl with the side fringe. People forget that's how he made his bean daughter, probably. And it's like
that's how he forged the bean daughter.
Yeah, he got on at midnight a lot of times by like being like, oh, hashtag sodas Hitler would like. But it's like it was, you know, this has been the past 4 years just selling people out of like, you know, your friend made like some Michael Ian Black style like 2012 tweets, and you're like, I have listened to the considerations of others, and I think accountability and process are the two things that call you just a word salad. Just selling your friend down the river for like, you know, $70,000 a year. Ken Jennings, this is like, I mean, Ken Jennings is like already balling because he's a Mormon and he's got his head on straight. But like, he really wanted to do this, but instead of like throwing this guy under the bus, he was like, probably doesn't even like that guy this much.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was like, no, I'm like riding with him. Like, sorry, losers. He didn't say sorry, losers. He was like more polite than that. But I did appreciate that, and I think he should have been given Jeopardy because of that.
I wish I loved anything as much as conservative talk radio hosts love dying of COVID.
Yeah, I love it.
It's
love
incredible.
This. We've been talking about Casino a lot, but this is like Look at what always happens. The high level guys, they're like, fuck COVID, it's not real. They all got the vaccine in like January. They're on their like 8th booster shot. Like Greg Abbott is probably just like double jamming like huge syringes into his neck every day.
No, he does. He's had a fucking booster already.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like the Chapo regimes, they're like, oh, those guys are saying that because they believe it. Oh yeah, no, this is COVID's not real, and if it was, like, it's not really gonna affect me. Even though, yes, I'm 90 pounds overweight and like have just been sitting down for the past 28 years, and I have a lung disease from like buying a Green Beret cigar brand. But like, this is not going to really affect me. I don't need to get the shot. I'm like, fine. I may be 85 years old. I may have had to have gotten into radio because of a bridge tournament fixing scandal that booted me out of boarding school in 1931. I may have, made a buffoon of myself at like a slave auction debutante ball as I was coming of age as a 29-year-old man, and fled town to got into radio and changed my name to like Gerald Kissman. And I'm like the biggest conservative radio star in Idaho, but I don't really need this. I'm in perfect health. Just dead instantly dead.
Mr. Blair said Britain had a moral obligation to stay in Afghanistan until all those who need are to be evacuated. He wrote on his website, "We must evacuate and give sanctuary to those whom we have responsibility. Those Afghans who helped us and stood by us and have a right to demand we stand by them. This should not be done grudgingly, but out of a deep sense of humanity and responsibility." Mr. Blair admitted mistakes had been made over Afghanistan, but the reaction to our mistakes has been, unfortunately, further mistakes. He said, while imperfect, the real gains over the past 20 years were now likely to be lost.
The real
We
gain.
were losing them in the 3 years leading up to this. We were we didn't gain anything from like 2017 to 2020. What was going to happen? What was going to fucking change? Your country won't even accept any of these fucking people.
Yeah, no.
Go fuck yourself.
And he also said that, like, he says that, like, I don't know where the quote is in this article, but he was just basically like, Britain is facing a sad state of affairs where we may get relegated to a second-rate power.
May.
Oh, that may happen? That happened decades ago, dude. Decades ago.
Get a fucking seance with Anthony Eden. He'll tell you about it.
Yeah. This sounds so fucking hard for you guys. It sounds so fucking tough that you had to see America do this. It really sounds like, what you guys should do is you should pivot away to America and maybe join the EU. You guys thought about doing that?
And I saw an opinion poll of the British public has 50% of Britons opposed to the American withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Oh, boo fucking
What
who.
is up with this country?
I wish it was 100%. Fuck all of you people.
Yeah. What is wrong with them? But like, Tony Blair, man. This guy, by the way, has spent the last couple years being a paid lobbyist for the United Arab Emirates. So, I mean, this is some fucking nerve at this guy to show up.
What's the problem, Tony? What's the problem? Is a Sunni dictatorship, it's just not good when you put it here, but over there it's fine? Does the Taliban have to, like, pay you to take guys to Kosi?
If the Taliban built indoor ski slopes, then Tony Blair would be taking money from them.
Yeah.
Just utterly repellent. One of the worst human beings alive. The country will eventually resist it. The Taliban will crack down harder, and Afghanistan will not implode. It will explode. It will break up into different regions and hemorrhage refugees and instability. It will be very ugly, and America and Biden will be blamed for the chaos. But America will also be gone. Afghanistan will then be a huge problem for its neighbors, particularly Pakistan, China, Russia, and Iran. Then Friedman closes out by saying, Pakistan, China, Russia, and Iran? Maybe Biden had that in mind all along. Yeah, he's playing 4D chess here.
I think we all know what's in Biden's mind. It's Betty Boop working at a milkshake stand. It's a car that never runs out of gas.
A skeleton who sounds like Cab Calloway.
It's a hand job during the 7th inning stretch.
Just one more hit on Trump here. He's doing the media rounds today. This was from an interview with Hugh Hewitt, just today or the other day, and he says, he's speaking, of course, about Biden, and he's like, look, this is Sleepy Joe. Like, this never would have happened. This never would have happened if I was
because you wouldn't have pulled out because the handsome generals would have done a puppet show for you, and you would have gotten scared.
So Trump says, and they respected us. They respected me, but they respected us, and I don't think the Taliban wasn't watching because ISIS is tougher than the Taliban and nastier than the Taliban, and ISIS was watching, and then they didn't exist anymore, and we took out the founder of ISIS, al-Baghdadi, and then of course Soleimani. Now, just so you understand, Soleimani is bigger by many, many times than Osama bin Laden. The founder of ISIS is bigger by many, many times. Al-Baghdadi, then Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden had one hit, and it was a bad one in New York City, the World Trade Center. But these other two guys were monsters.
Wow.
Oh man.
Sorry, it was 2 hits in New York City, Trump. I mean, let's be serious. Those are 2 big singles.
And a
that he
cruise
dropped.
missile into the Pentagon.
Yeah. But I love that he is claiming. He's attacking Biden and claiming this glory for himself by basically saying, Osama bin Laden, he wasn't such a bad guy.
He was fine. He was good.
He wasn't large, okay? These other guys, they're very big.
I thought he would love Bin Laden because Bin Laden was very tall.
It's true.
Big guy.
Joe and Bo should be commended because they did the wall in reverse.
How so?
The son goes to war
Oh, right, yeah.
and dies. He doesn't die in the war, but dies. The son goes to war and dies. The dad has a non-linear recapture of every moment of his life. Like the dad is Bob Geldof in the movie, where he's like sitting in a hotel room, but instead of like smoking and doing drugs, he's like drinking a milkshake and like watching TV and thinking about like the pressures of being the star, of being the president, of being the star for so long. And then he like goes through every moment of his life. He remembers like, his mom giving him like canola oil when he was sick with like mumps or some shit in 1912. He remembers Corn Pop. He remembers all that shit. He remembers all his loves. And then
He remembers them all as animated sequences.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then he's like, wait, I have to destroy the wall. I've built the wall. I have to destroy the wall. And then that's what else happens to the wall? The guy comes in the theater. The guy comes
He becomes a fascist at one point.
Yeah. The guy comes in the theater and he's like, "Are there any Jews or gay people in the audience? You look gay." And I haven't figured out what character that is yet. Maybe Nancy Pelosi, not sure. But they're assuredly doing the wall in reverse.
Dr. Jill, do you think they'll drop the bomb?
Jack, do you think she's good enough for me? And okay, the lyric in Mother, the line, she won't let you fly, but she might let you sing. That's all the times Joe tried to run for president and failed.
Yeah.
And the song, this is more the album, but the song Vera Lynn, the only lyrics to Vera are, does anybody remember Vera Lynn? Does anybody remember when she would say blah, blah, blah? Does anyone feel the way I do?
That's just a
That's
Joe
something
speech.
he would say.
That's just a speech.
That's
yeah.
a speech he would give. And then the next song, the exact next song after Vera is Bring Our Boys Back Home.
Holy shit.
That's, dude.
Dude, we're just checking every box on the list here. Roger Waters, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the show.
Yeah, we want to talk to you about how you made one of the greatest concept albums of all time about Joe Biden.
Mr. Biden's decision to withdraw all U.S. forces destroyed an affordable status quo that could have lasted indefinitely at a minimum cost in blood and treasure.
First of all,
yeah.
$300 million a day. What's that? Fliff, not even counting it.
Fliff like a sultan.
But fucking Afghans would have been dying this whole time. The Americans stopped dying because we made a deal with the Taliban, but that was in exchange for them tearing the shit out of the Afghan army, which was getting their asses kicked and who was returning fire in their own war crimes. People were fucking dying.
I love the idea that like this was just infinitely sustainable. And you know what? Like, he's right. Like, that's what our government is set up to do. But like, what's so fucking $300 million a day. Overall, the entire cost of the Afghanistan war represented, as I've talked about before, between $2 and $3 trillion transferred from public coffers to 5 defense contractors.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
And they want that laundromat to just stay open.
Yeah.
Keep washing all that money. And it is so doubly infuriating. It's like almost a cliche to say it. Like, and I hate it. But like $3 trillion over 20 years to produce this result. And Bernie's Medicare for All bill is $1.3 trillion over 10 years. Like, if we just spent that money, every single American could have health care. And the thing they always say is just like, oh, Medicare for All, that's going to cost $1 trillion. Like, well, yeah, like as opposed to this shit?
Yeah. But
like, that's
we build
spending money. That's
hospitals in
spending money
America.
on American
We
citizens.
can't bomb it, which is the fun part about building a hospital.
If
That
you
you get
ju-
to strafe it with a fucking C-130.
Even if Afghanistan is what they say it is, which I guess is like the like Doom, like, wherever the Legion of Doom hung out in, the big underwater thing, where they are just all they care about is planning attacks on America and executing them. Even if it was that, and we're leaving it to let it go back to being that, and there was a 9/11 that just they happened at random every other fucking day, it would be infinitely more beneficial for America to just leave it at that and implement Medicare for All. Way less people would die.
Like, and it would
way
also-
fewer.
It would
way fewer.
Like the net like lives saved versus lost is so massively weighted to like how many like American lives would be saved by Medicare
Yeah.
for All versus anyone that may theoretically be killed in a terrorist attack. Which are like, let's be honest, you're more likely to get killed by a great white shark on land than you are to be killed in a fucking terrorist
Yeah.
attack. And it's just like, also the media would just be like talking about these 12 Americans that died. Like, another reason I don't think people are going to like get up for this the way they used to is like 900 Americans died in Florida yesterday.
yeah.
9/11 every day. That's what we've been saying here, and it's true.
And we have all collectively decided that because
that's okay.
we can't figure it out, because that would require a political solution, and our political system doesn't work that way. We're just gonna vibe it out, and if we're gonna vibe that out, I think we can vibe out some Marines.
And you know
getting
what?
blown up.
if we had vibed out all the people that died on 9/11,
That
we'd
would've
be way better off
that
than
would have
we are
been the time
now.
to do it. That would have been time to vibe out some deaths.